Welcome, chosen ones. Most people go through life feeling like they're at the mercy of circumstances, fighting battles they don't understand, facing rejection they never deserved, and struggling against invisible forces that seem determined to keep them down. But what if I told you that the real fight wasn't just happening in your workplace, your relationships, or even within yourself? What if I told you that there has been a case against you in the highest court, the divine courtroom of the King of Kings, and today the verdict has been issued in your favor? This is not about wishful thinking or feel-good motivation. This is about justice. Many of you have been through seasons where nothing made sense, where you were attacked, betrayed, overlooked, and even questioned if God was still on your side. But heaven has ruled, and the decree is final. You have been cleared, restored, and positioned for something greater. Watch this to the end because you need to understand what this ruling truly means. It's not just about blessings, it's about responsibility. It's about stepping into a new level of authority where fear, doubt, and even the opinions of others can no longer dictate your path. If you've ever felt like your life has been one long courtroom battle, you're about to see why the fight was so intense and why the enemy was so desperate to stop you. The throne room has spoken. Now it's time to walk in that victory. Let's get started, chosen ones. Number 1. Verdict beyond earthly courts. We live in a world where justice is often compromised, where truth is twisted, where power and money decide outcomes, and where the guilty walk free while the innocent suffer. People lie, systems fail, promises are broken. But there is a court beyond all of this, one where corruption holds no power and where no bribe, influence, or manipulation can alter the truth. This is the throne room of the King of Kings, and when he delivers a verdict, it is final. No debates, no delays, no appeals. Many of you have been through situations where justice was denied, where people falsely accused you, where doors were unfairly shut in your face, or where your efforts were dismissed as if they meant nothing. Maybe you've even been fighting silent battles, wondering if God sees what's happening. Let me tell you, He does. And more than that, He has already ruled in your favor. This is not a human courtroom where loopholes and technicalities exist. There are no hidden agendas, no backdoor deals, no delays to keep you stuck in limbo. When God rules, His word carries the full weight of eternity. No one can challenge it. No enemy can overturn it. No opposition can undo what He has set in motion. But here's the part many don't realize. This verdict isn't just about your comfort. It's about your calling. God didn't just rule in your favor so you could sit back and relax. He ruled because your purpose required divine authorization. The battles you fought were not just random struggles. They were legal proceedings in the courts of heaven. And the enemy fought so hard because he knew what was at stake. Now that the verdict has been issued, everything must align. Barriers must fall. The things that resisted you must move. What was stolen must be returned. Your name has been cleared, your assignment has been affirmed, and your authority has been legally established. So the question is, are you ready to step into what has been ruled as rightfully yours? Because this is not just a victory, this is a divine order. And when the King of Kings speaks, nothing and no one can stand in the way. Number 2. Divine justice overrules human accusations. People can say whatever they want about you. They can twist your words, spread lies, and even make others believe things that are completely false. Some of you have been judged unfairly, not just by strangers, but by those you trusted. You've been misunderstood, betrayed, and even abandoned because of things you never did. And while human justice often fails, divine justice never does. In the courts of heaven, there is no deception, no manipulation, and no hidden motives. Every false accusation, every unfair judgment, and every betrayal you've endured has been weighed, not by public opinion, not by your enemies, but by eternal truth. The case against you was built on lies, but lies do not hold up in the presence of the King of Kings. What was plotted in darkness has been exposed, and the scales have tipped in your favor. You see, God doesn't just defend His people, He delivers verdicts. When He rules, it's not just about clearing your name, it's about elevating you to where you were always meant to be. That's why the attacks were so vicious. That's why the enemy worked so hard to discredit you, because he knew that if the truth ever came out, if justice ever prevailed, you wouldn't just survive. You would rise. Now, the ruling has been issued. Heaven has declared that you are not guilty. The betrayal, the accusations, the injustice, they no longer have any power over you. What was meant to destroy you is now evidence of your strength. What was whispered behind closed doors has now been overturned by the only voice that matters. So let them talk. Let them assume, let them plot. It doesn't matter anymore. The King of Kings has spoken, and his word is final. Number 3, not just a win. A war has been settled. This isn't just another small victory. This isn't one of those moments where you win a battle but still have to watch your back, wondering when the next attack will come. No, this is the end of an entire war that has been raging in the unseen realms for years, maybe even generations. Many of the struggles you faced weren't just about you. They were about cycles, patterns of failure, oppression, delay, and spiritual resistance that have been in place long before you even realized what was happening. Some of the battles you fought weren't just personal, they were ancestral. They were designed to keep you bound by the same chains that held those before you. But now, heaven has ruled, and this verdict is not just about clearing your path. It's about breaking the strongholds that have tried to keep your entire bloodline in bondage. The addictions, the poverty, the repeated failures, the shame, the constant near success but never quite making it moments. It all ends here. The war is over. The cycle is broken. What makes this different from just another win? Finality. This isn't just relief, it's release. You're not just escaping, you're ascending. The opposition has been silenced, the chains have been shattered, and what was fighting to keep you stuck has lost its power forever. Now it's up to you. You don't have to fight a battle that's already been won, you just have to walk in the victory that's already been declared. Number 4. This is bigger than just winning. This is a shift in authority. For too long, what rightfully belonged to you was kept out of reach. Promises were delayed, opportunities were blocked. What should have been yours was either stolen, hidden, or placed in the hands of the wrong people. But now, the ruling has been made, and everything that was denied is being restored. This isn't just about getting back what was lost. It's about inheritance. You're not just receiving blessings. You're receiving a legal transfer of power. What once seemed impossible is now your responsibility to manage. What was once controlled by others has now been placed under your authority. No force, human or supernatural, can undo this. No enemy can reverse what heaven has already signed off on. Understand this. When power shifts, territory is taken. When authority is given, responsibility follows. Some people won't like it, some will question it, some will resist it. But none of that matters because the transfer has already taken place in the highest court. The decision is final. Now, the real question is, are you ready to step into it? Because this is no longer about waiting. The throne room has ruled, and the time to walk in your inheritance is now. Number 5. Some doors have been shut for good. When God rules in your favor, it doesn't just mean new opportunities. It means certain things will never be the same again. Some doors have been permanently closed, and no matter how much you try to revisit them, they will not reopen. At first, this might feel like a loss. You may wonder why certain relationships have ended, why certain opportunities slipped away, or why some places that once felt familiar now seem foreign. But here's the truth. This isn't rejection, it's protection. What you thought you needed was actually a limitation. What you were holding on to was keeping you small. The verdict wasn't just about giving you access to better. It was about sealing off what no longer serves your destiny. Think about it. You can't step into a throne room and still dwell in the same places where you were once oppressed. You can't inherit something greater while holding on to what was broken. Some relationships were built on false foundations. Some environments were draining your purpose. Some doors led nowhere but cycles of frustration. And so, the ruling came, not just to move you forward, but to block you from ever going back. Stop mourning over what is gone. Stop trying to resurrect what God has shut down. What's ahead is greater than what's behind, and the sealed doors are proof that you are never meant to return to who you used to be. Number 6. Your enemies have been silenced, not removed. Some people expect that when God rules in their favor, every enemy will disappear. that those who oppose them will be wiped out, removed from their path entirely. But that's not always how divine justice works. Sometimes your enemies remain, but they are stripped of their power. This is a different kind of victory. The same people who mocked you, betrayed you, or tried to stop you may still be around, but their words now carry no weight. Their opinions no longer matter. Their influence over your destiny has been completely broken. They can talk, they can scheme, they can plot, but nothing they do can change what has already been decreed. And that's the real test. Can you walk in victory even with your enemies watching? Can you stand in the place God has elevated you to, knowing that those who once tried to destroy you can do nothing but observe? See, sometimes God doesn't remove your enemies. He humiliates them. He lets them witness your rise. He allows them to see that their attacks didn't work, that their gossip didn't stop your purpose, and that everything they did only made you stronger. So don't be distracted by their presence. They may still be in the room, but they have no authority. They've been silenced in the only place that matters, the throne room of the King of Kings. And when he speaks, every other voice becomes irrelevant. Number 7. This is a call to governance, not comfort. Many people think that when God rules in their favor, it's time to sit back and enjoy the blessings. They assume the battle is over, the struggle has ended, and now life will be easy. But favor isn't a retirement plan, it's an assignment. When the King of Kings delivers a verdict in your favor, it's not just to bless you, it's to establish you. You've been given authority, not convenience. You've been called to govern, not relax. This ruling is a divine commission, a command to build, to lead, to occupy new territory. Think of Joseph. When God ruled in his favor, he didn't go back to a quiet life. He was placed in charge of an entire nation. Think of David. When God ruled in his favor, he didn't return to the pasture. He was given a throne and the responsibility to rule. Favor doesn't just bring elevation, it brings expectation. This means you can't afford to shrink back. You can't afford to wait for someone else to take charge. You have been appointed, and the weight of leadership is now on you. The land that once rejected you is now yours to govern. The doors that were once shut are now open, but they are open for you to build, manage, and expand. So if you were expecting a season of ease, understand this. This is not about comfort, it's about dominion. You've been given the keys. Now, what will you do with them? Number 8. A throne room verdict forces an exodus. When God issues a ruling, it's not just a change in your personal circumstances, it's a divine disruption. Everything that once seemed stable, secure, or comfortable around you begins to shake. Systems that have held you captive, institutions that have tried to control you, and people who have been comfortable in the old order, they will start to move, leave, or shift. This isn't just change, it's an exodus. The verdict from the throne room forces a separation between what is aligned with your purpose and what isn't. What once fit into your life, your plans, and your vision for the future suddenly begins to feel wrong, uncomfortable, or out of place. The things that used to work start to fall apart, not because you've done anything wrong, but because they cannot coexist with what God has just decreed over you. People you've outgrown, relationships that no longer serve your destiny, and opportunities that would have kept you stuck in mediocrity will suddenly disappear. Expect sudden departures. Some people will leave on their own, others will be removed. But either way, what can't align with your new calling must be released. This isn't loss, it's clearance. God is making room for the new, for the better, for what fits with His divine purpose for your life. And while it may feel uncomfortable at first, this exodus is necessary for your growth. You can't walk into the future with people, places, and things that are tied to the past. So embrace the shift. Don't fight the departures. Understand that when God rules in your favor, everything that is out of alignment must go. And what remains will be the foundation for your new level. Number 9. This verdict exposes the hidden kingdom war. Not every struggle you've faced has been about you. Many of the battles you've fought weren't just personal, they were cosmic. What seemed like simple setbacks, betrayals, or random attacks were actually signs of an unseen war being waged over your very soul, your destiny, and your future. You've been under siege, and maybe you didn't even realize it. It wasn't just about the people who hurt you or the opportunities you missed. It was about what was happening in the spiritual realm, where forces beyond your comprehension have been at work. What seemed like misfortune or rejection was often the enemy trying to claim you as territory. You were being fought over, and the stakes were higher than you ever imagined. But now, the ruling has come down. The verdict has been issued, and with it, the truth has been exposed. You weren't just facing a series of unfortunate events. You were in the middle of a spiritual battle. Every attack, every obstacle, every betrayal was part of a larger strategy to keep you from your purpose. And what the enemy failed to realize was that the more they tried to stop you, the stronger you became. This is what makes the ruling so powerful. It's not just a personal victory, it's a divine conquest. You were the territory being fought over, but now you are officially claimed by the King of Kings. The enemy has lost its hold, and your life is no longer up for grabs. So understand this. The challenges you've faced weren't random, and they weren't without reason. They were part of a greater war that's been won on your behalf. Now, you don't just walk in victory. You walk in spiritual authority, knowing that the battles you've fought have already been declared finished. Number 10. The accuser's case was built on lies. For far too long, the accuser has stood against you, relentlessly bringing up every mistake, every failure, every weakness in an attempt to condemn you. It wasn't just a few accusations, it was a full-blown case, carefully constructed with every error from your past, every moment of doubt, and every misstep you've ever taken. The adversary tried to build a case that would keep you shackled, that would hold you in a perpetual state of guilt, shame, and defeat. But here's the truth. Truth is not determined by the accuser. It is set by the king. The enemy's version of your story is based on distortion and half-truths. But the King of Kings doesn't rely on the lies spun in the courtroom of darkness. His verdict is based on something far more powerful: divine grace. The accusations were never grounded in truth, but in manipulation, designed to keep you from stepping into the fullness of who you are meant to be. The case against you, despite its seeming strength, collapsed under the weight of divine grace. Every lie the enemy wove fell apart because grace doesn't just cover mistakes, it redefines them. Where the enemy saw weakness, God saw potential. Where the accuser found failure, God found growth. Where the adversary demanded judgment, the King of Kings extended mercy. So, the ruling is clear. You are not guilty. The case against you has no foundation. The accusations hold no power. The verdict has been issued, and the grace of God has silenced every lie the enemy ever spoke about you. You are free, you are redeemed, and your future has been secured by a king who sees you for who you truly are. Number 11. You will now understand why the attacks were so severe. Looking back, it might have seemed like the battles you faced were overwhelming, relentless, brutal, and unending. The attacks didn't just come in waves, they came with ferocity. The opposition didn't just push against you, it tried to break you, and it may have left you wondering, why was it so hard? Why was I targeted so intensely? The truth is, the enemy only fights with such intensity when the calling is significant. If the attacks were great, it's because the assignment on your life is greater. The more severe the resistance, the higher the stakes. The magnitude of the opposition directly reflects the magnitude of the purpose that was being fought against. The enemy doesn't waste energy on people who are a threat to no one. He doesn't invest resources in tearing down those who aren't about to make a real impact. But you, your calling, your purpose, your very existence was always under attack because you were never just going to be ordinary. You were always meant for something monumental. Now, with the throne room verdict in your favor, you will begin to understand why it was all worth it. The severity of the attack only proves the significance of the mission. It wasn't personal. It was about your calling. Every trial, every setback, every moment of confusion was the enemy's attempt to stop what God had ordained from the beginning. But now the truth is clear. You are a force to be reckoned with. The battle wasn't just for your survival, it was for your destiny. And now that the verdict is issued, you can step forward with the knowledge that the resistance was only proof of the monumental thing that lies ahead. Number 12. The verdict is not just for you, it's generational. The ruling in your favor isn't a victory that ends with you, it ripples through time. What has just been decreed in your life isn't merely for your own benefit. It's a legal shift that will alter the entire trajectory of your bloodline. The verdict of the king doesn't just elevate your future, it changes the course of history for your children, your grandchildren, and even nations that will come after you. Your victory is not an isolated moment, it is a bloodline breakthrough. The favor you now walk in doesn't just open doors for you, it opens them for generations to come. The curses that once held your family captive are broken, the limitations that hindered your ancestors are lifted, and the destiny that seemed out of reach is now secured for those who follow you. This is the power of divine rulings. The king's verdict doesn't just shift your life, it rewrites the story of everyone tied to you. What once felt like a cycle of struggle and setback will now become a legacy of freedom and favor. The generations that come from you will stand in the inheritance of what you've just stepped into. So, as you embrace this victory, know that it's not just about you. You've just opened a door that will never close. The future is altered not by your own strength, but by the righteous ruling of a king whose influence stretches beyond what you can see. Your victory is a foundational shift, laying the groundwork for those who will rise after you. And that's the beauty of this divine ruling. It's bigger than you. Number 13, favor isn't always comfortable. Most people think favor means life gets easier. They assume that when God rules in their favor, everything will suddenly fall into place, doors will fly open, and struggles will disappear. But the truth? Favor doesn't remove the battle, it intensifies it. When the King of Kings rules in your favor, it doesn't just bring blessings, it brings attention. Favor is a magnet for opposition. When you've been chosen, when power has shifted to your hands, expect resistance, expect jealousy. Expect people to question why you, of all people, were elevated. Some will celebrate you, others will secretly or openly resent you. But here's the key. Favor also grants unstoppable momentum. Once God's verdict is spoken, no enemy, no system, and no circumstance can block what He has set in motion. You might feel the pressure, you might face unexpected challenges, but you will also find that doors open where they were once locked. Resources appear where there was once lack, and the very things meant to stop you end up pushing you forward. Favor isn't about comfort, it's about conquering. It's about stepping into territory that was previously off limits. It's about carrying a weight that few can handle, and it's about trusting that if God has ruled in your favor, then no matter how fierce the opposition, you cannot be stopped. So don't run from the pressure. Don't shrink back because of resistance. Walk boldly. The verdict stands. In conclusion, this is the moment where everything changes. The throne room verdict has been issued in your favor, and the weight of that ruling is incomprehensible. It's not just a blessing, it's a transformation. You've been chosen, not because you're perfect or because you've never failed, but because the King of Kings has seen something in you that is worth fighting for. You are His heir, His representative, and that means the world will now see you through His eyes, not the enemy's, not the world's, not even your own. Don't mistake this moment for a break from the fight. It's not about resting, it's about stepping into your purpose with courage and resolve. The attacks will still come, the challenges will still rise. But now you know, the victory has already been won. The verdict that's been issued has sealed your destiny, and no force, human or supernatural, can undo it. Understand this. You are a chosen one, not because of what's behind you, but because of what's ahead. You've been called for something bigger than yourself, a legacy that will last beyond your time. Your calling doesn't stop with you. It spills over into generations. So walk in this new authority, unapologetically. Know who you are. Live in the fullness of your identity, and don't let anyone or anything make you question the ruling that has already been issued over your life. This is your time to lead, to build, to break generational chains, and to stand as a living testimony of divine favor. You are not just surviving anymore, you are thriving, and the world is about to see it. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.